Okay, so the next question is from My Fish Care 101, and she said, what got us started in fish keeping and what's my favourite type of aquatic plant and fish? I've always really loved fish. I used to walk into the pet shop when I was little, like 4 or 5 years old. I just used to stare at the fish. Just something drew us to them. I don't know what. It could be the colour. I'm not really sure. I just absolutely loved them. And I had a few fish tanks when I was little, goldfish, that's it. I never had any tropical fish, and they always died. I mean, I didn't dechlorinate the water, I didn't know a thing about bacteria, nothing like that. And I did full water changes every week, so that isn't very good. Two of them did manage to survive a year, but I really don't know how they survived a year with me. But then after that I wasn't really allowed to keep fish because I just ended up killing them all the time. And then I think 2 or 3 years ago I decided to get a pond in the back garden, and my parents allowed us to do that, so that was great. And while I was reading up on ponds and watching pond videos, I actually discovered some channels on fish tanks. I didn't really know there was any fish tank channels on YouTube at all. I think one of them I came across was the Nemo's Omen, just known by Nemo on YouTube. They were a very good tutor and I learned a lot from them. And then I went on to read a lot of books about fish at the library. I did a lot of research. I then got a small goldfish tank that survived, and then I put it in the pond. That's been alive a few years. I don't know what's happened to it recently though. I think birds got it. So next year I'm going to put a net over the pond. So yeah, I just gradually moved up, learned more, got bigger and better tanks. I got a fighting fish, that was my first tropical fish. And then I got a 17 litre cube aquarium on this table. I got a few guppies. I think I got 3 or 4 fancy guppies. I got 5 neon tetras, 5 glow light tetras, and 3 albino Cory catfish. So that was really a good introduction to tropical, and I kept those fish alive for quite a while, and then handed them back into the pet shop. And then I got goldfish again. I went back to tropical, and then I finally got this quite large tropical tank. So yeah, I've just loved fish all my life. I really don't know what draws us to them. I don't know. I walk up the tanks and I'm just happy sat in front of them, like I am now. So yeah, I love fish. My favourite aquatic plant is probably dwarf sage, just because it's so easy to grow for a foreground plant, because most foreground plants are very difficult to grow, like dwarf baby tears and glossostigma. That's probably a great foreground plant to have. I love dwarf sage. It's very bright as well, and it's just so fast. It sends up a new runner like every 2 or 3 days for me, so I absolutely love it. My favourite fish, as I mentioned before, is probably rummy-nosed tetras, although I haven't really tried any other fish. I'd like to try clown loaches and okay, so the next comment is from the KSH21, and they said, what's the worst thing you've ever done while fish keeping, regarding deaths and things like that? Well, I actually killed quite a lot of fish off in a 17 litre aquarium I used to have here, with concrete. I watched a video on YouTube that said you could make concrete aquarium ornaments using a bucket filled with sand, and then you kind of scooped out the sand in a design that you liked and filled it with concrete. And then I did that, and then I left the concrete to set overnight. In the morning I then took my concrete ornaments out. They looked really nice. I think I made like a little bridge and things like that. And then it said I had to soak them for quite a while. And I think I was going on holiday. I think I was going on holiday a few days after that. So I kind of skipped a few days when soaking them, and I just put them straight in the tank. Then later that day, the fish just completely lost the colour, and I couldn't work out what was wrong with them. And then they just started dying one by one. And by the time I had a few fish left, I realised that was the concrete, because concrete is actually very alkaline, so the pH, it went from very low, because it was like I had neon tetras in there and they like a low pH, so the pH, it went from very low to very high, and that's actually what killed them off. So don't put concrete in your fish tanks unless you know what you're doing. Really. Okay, so next question is from Funny Makes Life Sunny, and they said, what's your favourite part of fish keeping? For example, getting a fish, the result, maintaining it, etc. I really can't choose. I mean, it's all pretty great. I like going to the store, seeing all the fish. I like taking them home, acclimating them, and I like the final result. But if I really had to choose, I'd say kind of decorating a tank, because it gives us a chance to really get creative. Okay, so the next question is from TheMathCam777, and his first question was, what is the newbiest question you've been asked on this video? I haven't really been asked any newbie questions. He also asked, what is your favourite fish? Once again, my favourite fish are rummy-nosed tetras. He asked, will you ever run a high-tech tank? Yes, definitely sometime in the future, because I have been considering setting one up, but I just really haven't got enough room or enough money to do so. But I will one day though, a few years time. And he said, what's my favourite plant, aquatic or non-aquatic? I've got to go aquatic, and dwarf sage, because it just grows so quickly and it's a great foreground plant considering the other foreground plants that are available, like glossostigma. Okay, so the next question is from Josh40996, and he said, what's your favourite food and what really annoys you about other people? My favourite food is lasagna, followed quite closely by pizza. And the thing that most annoys us about other people is not following my advice. Because I do get a lot of people asking my advice on if the tank's big enough for the fish they've got in it, if the temperature is right, stuff like that. And I'll give them my advice and I'll say, please follow it. And they don't always follow it. I mean, I don't get many people actually following my advice. And I think I got one person that had a fighting fish, and they said, do I need a heater for my fighting fish? I said, yeah, you should really have a heater for them, unless the tank's in a very warm position. And they just didn't get one, so that fish is probably going to end up dying. So yeah, that really annoys us about. Okay, so the next question is from GZ1423, and they said, is it hard to maintain a big tank? I've never really had like a actual huge tank, but if you class this as big, then it's not really hard to maintain. Just keep up with water changes. 25 to 50% water change weekly should be okay, and just make sure you clean the glass every 2 or 3 days, because after 2 or 3 days a film of algae will actually build up. It won't be noticeable to the human eye, but it'll still be there, and it'll make it easier for the algae that you can see to actually grow on it. So just make sure you clean your glass regularly and do your water changes quite a lot, and it's not really hard to take care of at all.